Okay, Charlie, why don't you tell the good folks at home what we have on the bar tonight?
Buckle up. This is a long one. Middle West, weeded bourbon, cask strength. We're going to find out if it's any good.
Nailed it.
Boom.
Okay, Charlie, Middle West Spirits, one of our new favorites, based in Columbus, Ohio.
That's right.
They were kind enough to send this bottle to us along with a couple others, and we're finally getting around to reviewing it.
We're working our way through them.
Absolutely.
And so first of all, thank you to Middle West. And yes, this was given to us because we are very famous influencers. Thank you. But fear not, we will be fair and balanced in our review. So if it tastes like dog water, we'll tell you.
Then you'll never see this episode.
You probably won't. But I don't think it will because we were impressed with Middle West Spirits way before we ever had contact with Middle West Spirits.
Guess who else has been impressed with Middle West Spirits?
Jimmy Crackcorn.
Yes, Jimmy Crackcorn rated this in his top 100 whiskeys of the year.
You know what?
Actually, Fred Minnick did.
I don't care.
This came in at number 22. So,
No.
Not that that means anything to anyone, but I'm sure a lot of people will watch that.
So Mr. Minnick ranked this the 22nd best bourbon,
Best whiskey
of
2024.
2024.
Absolutely.
Well, look at us ahead of the curve. In your face, peoples. Let's get into this. This is a 4-grain mash bill.
Yes, 4-grain mash bill, yellow corn, soft red winter wheat, 2-row barley, and dark pumpernickel rye.
So very interesting. 4-grain. So not a ton of 4 grains on the market. You're starting to see more. Sure. So interesting tidbit. 10 years ago, there weren't a lot of bottled in bonds. Then bottled in bonds got very popular. Right. 5 years ago, you didn't see a lot of 4 grains. 4 grains are starting to make a big popularity boom. So that's interesting. Soft red winter wheat is pretty unique. Non-GMO corn, which they grow on their property.
Absolutely.
2-row barley, not 3-row, 2-row.
2-row.
Which is,
and we all know the difference.
You want me to tell you what the difference is? It's how it grows on the stalk.
Absolutely.
So 2-row grows, the barley's grow. If this is the stalk, it grows on the side.
On when you do that.
I know what you like. And dark pumpernickel rye. That is also unique. So this is very cool. This is all grown on their property at Middle West Spirits. It is cask strength. It is 4 years old. It is 122.2 proof.
Yes, absolutely.
This has to be
Retail
expensive.
price.
Has to be expensive.
$69.99.
Not expensive.
Not bad.
Look, our beautiful Zimmerman custom glassware.
Check out these glasses.
Beautiful, beautiful.
That's a really nice color.
Really does.
For a 4-year-old whiskey.
Really does. Kind of. Mine's a little more decorated than yours, but I can still see it. Kind of a nice amber color.
Almost a brown.
I knew a girl named Amber. Amber Brown. That wasn't her
Interesting.
name.
Was she proofy?
I don't know. She made all that up. It's hard to tell in these glasses, but you know what we're going to do?
Glasses aren't the best for...
Actually, look.
You tell me. Oh, there you go. Yeah, it's got...
It's awful sticky.
Nicely. Yeah.
Let's nose it.
All right, let's nose it.
Oh my gosh. Whew. So, big blast ethanol.
Yes.
It is very proofy. 122.2 proof. This is by far, so letting you behind the curtain, this is our 3rd episode of the night. This is by far the highest proof thing that we have drank.
It's got some spice there.
It does have some spice. It is a very flavorful nose.
I'm trying to... Not very sweet.
No, I get a little bit of corn sweetness, but that spicy ethanol really gets you.
It does have that earthy note that you get from a 4-grain, and also that you get a lot of grain to glass.
See, I
distillers.
I get a little weeder funk on there.
All right. Well,
I get a little funk.
Cheers, brother.
Middle West.
Wow. It just bursts onto your palate.
Yeah.
And in interest of full disclosure, we just filmed an episode where we drank the Remus Gatsby Reserve, which was a 15-year bourbon.
So
And
tough act to follow.
Tough act to follow. That really stands up after drinking that.
Yeah,
Like
a lot of complexity in the glass. A lot of complexity. It tastes like what it is. It is sweet with corn, spicy with the rye. You get that kind of sweet and mellow with the wheat. But it is just very flavorful, start to finish. It's almost hard to be like, oh, it's got front, mid, and finish. It just explodes onto your palate.
And it's very well rounded.
Yeah.
Which,
yeah,
it's a 4 grain, which that it should be,
Yeah.
right? The earthiness really follows through on the palate. And I know some people, when I say that, may not think that's a good thing. To me, that's a really good thing. Lots of Milky Way candy bar on this one for me. And it's a dust. It tastes earthy and dusty.
Yeah. Second drink now. The rye. The rye is almost like this is the only thing I can kind of come up with off the top of my head. Almost like a fuse, where it starts at the front of my tongue and it's like a fuse burning, like cannon fuse or dynamite fuse, that it kind of starts at the the front of your tongue, tip of your tongue, and then it just tingles all the way back. But then it kind of comes back and comes all the way back to the front. That rye just does not want to quit. It just sits there.
Yeah.
And you're left with all the other flavors kind of fighting you and fighting for space in your taste buds. And the rye just kind of rides that wave on your taste buds.
It does.
It's really good. Second drink, I was getting ready to say after the first drink, there's not a lot of oakiness. There's not a lot of wood character. But on the second drink, I did get more of what I would say, some oakiness. But it's 4 years old. So you're not going to get a ton of like dry, oaky, chewing on a stick type flavor. I really like this. I think that this is absolutely on brand for everything that we've had from Middle West, in that it's affordable and flavorful and transparent in what it is. It's a really good bottle.
Well-rounded. There's always different flavors battling it out for your attention, which I love because I want to be challenged, right? I want something that's interesting. It doesn't have to be the best bourbon in the world, but it needs to be interesting.
Yeah,
it needs to be challenging to the palate.
Well, it has to have flavor.
Right.
We had a Christmas Eve party here at my home, and obviously my rule when people come over to my home is if it's open, it's fair game. If it's not open, for the love of God, don't open it. It's not open for a reason.
At least not without permission.
At least not without permission. But I was talking to some people that were enjoying the wares on my bar, and I said, well, I really like this one and this one. And they're like, oh, you like that burn, that barrel proof, that burn. And I said, yes, but what I really want is flavor. Mm-hmm. Like, that's why we love barrel proof so much, is because there's just more flavor because there's less water. This is the definition of flavor in a bottle. It is, even if you don't have a refined palate, which, full disclosure, and if you've watched our episodes, shocker, we don't. This is a great bottle because there's no hiding it. It just explodes onto your palate, and your job is to just sift through the wreckage and be like, what is that flavor?
Right.
And that's what's fun about bourbon.
Yeah, man, we've got to get up to Middle West spirits. I know we've been saying that for a while. It's not that long of a trip.
I know.
We've got to figure out a way to get up there because I'm slowly falling in love.
It's just everything that we've had from them has been consistently delicious. And that's what you want. And it's all $70 and below. I think the most expensive thing I've gotten from them is I did the finished.
Yeah, it's right over there.
It's in a tube somewhere. But the sherry cask, which is a limited edition, I think that was $100 or $99, and that's fantastic too. But yeah, I will die on this hill. It is a great time, regardless of how you feel about bourbon in America, whether it's Sazerac and allocations or the price going up for those hard to find or those limited release from the big distilleries. If you haven't explored craft distilleries in America, and there are aplenty, you are doing yourself a disservice because there is some amazing product out now. And as we move forward, there will only be more amazing product as it ages.
Although I will tell you what.
You tell me
the way the economy is now, there's a lot of craft distillers out there who charge a lot of money for their product with good reason.
Yeah.
But I can envision a lot of those distilleries going out of business over the next year or so. I hope not, but people are tightening their wallets.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
And I feel like a distillery like Middle West, who keeps their prices, in that $69 range, are going to be able to weather that storm a little bit better than some of those craft distillers who are charging $150 plus for their bottles.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that about Middle West. They are one of the distilleries, the craft distilleries that control, when they say grain to glass, they mean it. Every product that's in here comes from their farm on their campus. So they grow all this stuff. I do not believe they import or bring in any grain from anybody else. I think that's one of their hallmarks of their distillery. That's why they have such a big farm. So that allows them to control, obviously, the means of production, which allows them to control their pricing. This is a great bottle, and I really enjoy it. I have enjoyed everything that I've had from them, but a 4-grain, weeded, cask strength for under $70.
Absolutely. And I can see why this stood up in Mr. Minnick's top 100, because you're tasting 100 whiskeys. And this sucker, you're tasting it. And I don't know what number it was when he tasted it, but after so many whiskeys, it's hard to stand out, right?
Just think of 22. Like, you can just, even if you're new into bourbon, think of 22 really, really well-known, highly allocated bottles. And you can. Like,
for instance,
very quickly.
Maker's Mark Cellar Aged finished 67th in his top 100 this year.
A weeded bourbon, cask strength.
Yes.
Wow. Interesting. Now, we've covered this in other episodes. Your results may vary. When it comes to matters of bourbon, it is matters of taste, and it's really matters of your palate. You may love Brussels sprouts. I love Brussels sprouts. You may hate them. If I tell you that Brussels sprouts are the best thing in the world, you're not going to run out and buy Brussels sprouts and be like, Charlie said these are great. Your palate may differ from my palate or Mr. Minnick's palate. I will tell you this, if you don't like this, then you're wrong. And you should, you're an idiot. No, I do. Seriously, I joke. But you're not going to like everything that is, highly rated or whatever. But I do think that craft distilleries are a great place to start to build your palate, because if you go to these places or you buy those readily available, one of the things that's kind of hurting bourbon, and how to phrase this without sounding like a weird person.
Oh.
I'll just say it. You're probably not drinking enough. Not in volume, but in diversity, right? If you only buy, I drink these 3 bourbons, and I drink them almost exclusively because I can get it, or I'll pay secondary for that, you're not expanding your palate and figuring out what you really like. It'd be like you only eating chicken nuggets and mac and cheese.
And that's fine if that's the way you like it. But I assume if you're watching us, that's probably not
we would hope
the case.
We would hope. Because at some point, it's a big wild world out there. There's a lot of great flavor. There's a lot of great bourbon. There's a lot of great whiskey. You need to get out there and you need to take the gamble, right? Like, that's what's fun about it. Buy that $30 of weird craft distillery and see if it's any good. And if it's bad, then pour it in Coke or make old fashions or give it to a buddy.
Give it to your neighbor or your brother when he comes over.
Yeah, here you go. Drink this. Or put it. Drink. One of our commenters said, put it in a decanter and tell people it's fancier, which is an awesome idea. I will not confirm or deny if I have done that in the past. But back to Middle West, unbelievable. Everything we've had from them has been great. Yeah, I'll get down on some rate.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Go. Nope.
All right.
You first.
Well, I'm empty. I will give this a solid 7.375 because that is a really good bottle.
I'm going to give this a 7.85.
Wow. Wow.
7.85.
You want to hear my Owen Wilson impersonation?
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Can I punch you in the nose?
Wow.
And that'll make it more realistic.
Wow. All right.
Tell the people what to do.
That's a great rating. Make sure to like and subscribe for more hard-hitting Owen Wilson content like this on YouTube.
Absolutely. Check us out on Instagram, So Into Bourbon, Whiskey Realtor on TikTok while it still exists in the United States of America, and So Into Bourbon on Facebook. We may post something next year.
Occasionally.
Maybe.
And most importantly, you got to keep those wallets loose.
And those bungholes. What's a bunghole?
Dude, you messed it up. You got to keep your... No, shut up. We're starting over. Keep your wallets loose.
And your bungholes tight.
There you go.
Tight.
Good night, everybody.
Peace out.
God bless you, Middle West. Bungholes.
Bungholes.
Bungholes. Ouch. Did you hear that pop?
Easy there, buddy.
See that?
What?
Just how steady that is. Mm-hmm. This is my pouring hand.
So I was going to say, it's because you already hit 2 drinks. Michelin. Is it Michelone? Michelone?
Let's say Michelone.
But Michelin.
But that's not what that says.
I know.
It says All right. You say it.
All right, Charlie, why don't you tell the good folks at home what we have on the bar tonight?
You did that on purpose. This is Middle West's Michelin Reserve. He's a piece of garbage, and we're going to drink it and tell you if it's any good, because that's what we do here on So Into Bourbon, regardless of what this guy does.
All right, Charlie, why don't you tell the good folks at home what we... Why? You keep kidding me. Oh,
I'm literally just looking at you.
Look at you and you're like...
It's the only face I got.
Right.
My mom says I'm handsome.
Try it again.
Here we go.
Take 3, 2, 1. All right, Charlie, why don't you tell the good folks at home what we have on the bar?
I was ready to.
I got my radio voice on. All
Hey,
right,
everybody,
Charlie.
tune in to 99.5, the love for our bash into the 80s. All right, come on, let's go.
3, 2, 1. All right, let's try that again. We may use it, we may not, but we'll try it again. Just call it Midwest.
Middle West. Straight weeded bourbon whiskey.
Bourbon whiskey. Okay.
Straight weeded bourbon whiskey.
Cask strength.
Check. Episode 7 of the night.
It's hard work.
That was episode 7? It's not. It's episode 3. Because we're special. We're influencers. A lot of people say it. I don't say it. Other people do.
Two. All right.
2 turn Tony. Let's go.
3, 2, 1.